The Violinist in the Subway. Aisha had played the violin since she was 6 years old. It had started as a gift, her grandfather's way of encouraging something elegant and lasting, he said. But for Aisha, it quickly became more than just a hobby. The violin was her sanctuary, her voice when words stumbled, her therapy on lonely days. Whenever her emotions became too tangled to unravel, she'd let her bow do the talking. In the quiet of her childhood bedroom, she had played through grief, joy, confusion. The music was honest, imperfect, and entirely hers. But one boundary she had never crossed was performance. The idea of strangers watching her, possibly judging, possibly laughing, made her stomach twist into tight, sour knots. She could recite Bach in her sleep, but froze if more than two people listened. When she moved to New York City for college, everything felt overwhelming. The noise, the ambition, the feeling that everyone else was already chasing something bold. Each day on her commute, she passed musicians in the subway, cellists weaving rich tones between announcements, saxophonists bending blues into steel columns, drummers pounding rhythm into the bones of the station. Some of them were clearly professionals. Others were raw, rough around the edges. But their bravery struck Aisha the most. They weren't waiting for perfect. They were simply sharing. One evening, her roommate, Camila, nudged her as they walked past a particularly soulful violinist near the Union Square platform. "You could totally do that," Camila said casually. Aisha laughed, too quickly. "Not a chance." "Why not?" "Because I like my dignity?" she half-joked, but Camila saw through her. "You're afraid of being heard." Aisha didn't respond, but the comment followed her home, then into her dreams, then into her practice sessions. It haunted her gently, not with shame, but with possibility. A few weeks later, on a quiet Saturday morning, she woke up early and couldn't shake the feeling. She stood at her closet, staring at her violin case. Her hands hovered above it. What if? Her heart pounded as she stepped onto the subway platform at 14th Street. Less crowded than the more popular spots, but still alive. She had chosen this station carefully, hoping to avoid too much attention. Camilla came along, sitting nearby with a book, pretending not to watch. Aisha's palms were slick as she unpacked her instrument and opened the case at her feet. The first notes that left her bow were shaky, like a bird taking flight for the first time. A businessman walked by without glancing up. A young couple smiled politely and then disappeared. She nearly stopped. But then, a mother paused with her little boy, who stared wide-eyed. When the music slowed into a lilting waltz, the child clapped. Aisha looked up, just briefly. But it was enough. Her shoulders loosened. She kept going. Mendelssohn, Tchaikovsky. An original tune she had composed late one night in a swirl of homesickness and hope. Each piece wasn't flawless, but it was real. Her music carried through the tunnel and bounced off the tiled walls like a secret suddenly declared. And people began to listen. A man in scrubs dropped $1. A teen with headphones paused, pulled them off, and gave her thumbs up. An elderly woman leaned against her walker and stayed for 3 whole songs. After nearly an hour, Aisha's fingers ached, but her soul felt electric. Someone asked for her name. Another person recorded a short video. When she finally packed up, her case held a modest collection of bills and coins, but more importantly, it held evidence that she had done it. She walked home with Camila, both of them silent for a while. Then Aisha said, "I didn't think I could do that." Camila smiled. "I did." That day didn't just mark her first subway performance, it shifted something inside her. The fear didn't vanish, but it no longer ruled her. She began returning to the station every Saturday, and sometimes after class. She played in the cold, in the rush, in the stillness. Sometimes no one stopped. Sometimes a child danced. Eventually she began performing at open mics, then recitals, then benefit concerts. Not because she wanted applause, but because she had learned that being seen is not the same as being judged. That being vulnerable doesn't mean being weak. It means being real. And sometimes real is exactly what the world needs to hear. Her journey started not in a concert hall, but in a tiled tunnel filled with echoing footsteps and passing glances. And there, in the hum of trains and human connection, Aisha discovered something far more powerful than applause. She discovered courage.